Many thanks for joining me for another TLC World Coffee Break message. You know, as a business professor for over 30 years, I've specialized in teaching and writing about leadership. And one area that always comes up is integrity. This essentially means that excellent leaders should model behavior for those they are leading, and the key to this is walking the talk, or put it another way, practicing what they preach. Recently, I was thinking how the walking the talk principle applies to Christians. Believers often refer to the Bible as their manual for life, but this is a pretty hefty manual to follow when it comes to walking the talk, because the average number of pages in the Bible is 1,200. Let's return to leadership for a moment. In practice, effective leadership is a highly complex idea because there are so many variables affecting it, including differences in culture, variations of leader personality, type of organization being led, and the nature of those who are the leader's subordinates. Nevertheless, a central feature of leadership which affects everything a leader does is conveyed in the notion of walking the talk. So it makes sense to ask if there's a biblical equivalent to walking the talk. I'm convinced there is, and it was given to us by none other than Jesus Christ himself. During his time on this earth, the ruling religious elite were constantly trying to test him and catch him out. One interchange went like this: Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it: love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. And you can find that in Matthew 22, verses 36 to 40. I believe Jesus, God in human form, is giving all believers the walk the talk principle here. His statement, all the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments, is equivalent to saying everything else in the faith depends on these two commandments. So if we Christians are unsure of whether we are being good advertisement for Christianity, we need look no further than this. Three key questions we need then to ask ourselves are: do I love God? Do I love people? And does my behavior indicate this? Now, we may fail in many areas, but if at our core we truly love God and people, we're on the right path. The notion of walking the talk seems to be an almost universally agreed upon virtue in this world. And I want to reach out to anyone who is not a believer yet and urge you to explore what Jesus has to offer and to ultimately put him in the driver's seat, so to speak. Read about him in the Bible and you'll find that during his time on this earth, not only was he the ultimate example of walking the talk, he was also vehemently opposed to hypocrisy. So when you accept him into your life and model his way, you'll find yourself highly motivated to walk the talk in the worldly sense too. So glad you could join me this week, and I hope you tune into TLC World again next week for another Spilling the Beans insight. Until then, have a good week, goodbye, and God bless.